Welcome to another Kings of War battle report. Ratkin Slaves versus the Northern Alliance. 2,000 points. The scenario was push. So this is my friend Carl's Northern Alliance army. It starts out with 2 hordes of clansmen. One has 2-handed weapons and the potion of the caterpillar. A horde of ice naiads with the brew of strength. 2 troops of huskarls. 2 regiments of snow foxes. A horde of snow trolls with the brew of sharpness. An icekin bolt thrower. A lord with the wings of honey maize, a thane with the lute and Talinar standard, a lord on Frostfang with the snow fox. So my friend Sean and I are trying to do what we call race to the bottom, which is use the 4 lowest tiered armies in the game. And unfortunately, I own all 4, or versions of them anyway. So this is my Ratkin Slaves army, and it's based on the article and I can't think of what it's probably a Northern Kings article. It's a pretty good article. So anyway, this is a horde of wretches, a horde of black souls with 2-handed weapons and a throwing mastiff, 3 regiments of tunnel runners, 1 with the brew of sharpness, 1 with striding, 1 with the potion of the caterpillar, a horde of nightmares, 2 rocket launchers, a slave driver with a war bow, 2 abyssal half-breeds, 1 with the mournful blade, and Golik. So this is my army. All of my tunnel runners are 3D printed by my friend Sean, or one of his friends did it for him. I'm also using an old Games Workshop Doom wheel as Golik, since it's on the right base and it's larger than the other guys, so you can kind of tell the difference between them. So I started out, I put the tunnel runners with the brew of sharpness down here on this end, along with the first of the abyssal half-breeds. Behind them is one of the rocket launchers, and then Golik is there. He's throwing a rally on 2 of those hordes. And then both units of tunnel runners, one on the right has striding, and the one on the left has caterpillar. Then the very middle is the nightmares. Over on the left beside them are the wretches, and they have the last breath upgrade. Then the black souls, they have both of my tokens for this push scenario. Finally, on the far left is the last rocket launcher, and then the half-breed that has the mournful blade. And since he has a hero over there and a war machine, it gives me something to go do with him early in the game as far as to cause some... Matter of fact, I think during this game, he was probably the best unit on the table were these abyssal half-breeds. They are just tough as nails. So really like that part of the army. Not sure about the rest of it, but that was my deployment. My strategy in this game, I was going to try to push on this right flank that you see here with Golik and the tunnel runners and that one abyssal half-breed. And then if I could get to the end of his army, I think I could roll him up. But we're going to have to see how that plays out. So while Carl is painting his Northern Alliance, he is using basically all my old Games Workshop Chaos stuff for them. I call it the Varinger / Northern Alliance army because it looks more like Varinger, but using a Northern Alliance list. So down here on this end, we have a unit of huskarls next to the difficult terrain. Next to them, the Lord on the Frostfang. Then the snow trolls with the brew of sharpness. Then the ice naiads, they have the brew of strength. Very strong combination, those 2 units side by side there, because it's so easy to get trapped in there with those stupid ice naiads. Then the first unit of clansmen, the ones with the double-handed weapons, and in front of them are one of my units of snotlings, which is, in this case, is going to be representing snow foxes since we don't really have any models. And then the other unit of clansmen with the same thing, snow foxes in the front, the icekin bolt thrower, and then on the very end he had, I think it was the thane, but I'm not positive which guy, and a unit of housecarls. And the housecarls on the very end had one of his tokens, and the ice naiads had one of his tokens. Pretty sure this is a combined turn 1. I don't recall. I think I have some other pictures, but this was the best picture of what happened. So down here on this flank, the brew of sharpness tunnel runners moved to the top of the hill, along with the abyssal half-breed, and Golik moved up there as well to be able to charge into the housecarls. The housecarls have moved into the difficult terrain, of course, to make me hindered, which is a good plan. Everything else just kind of moved up online. Over on the very end, the abyssal half-breed swung around the corner to try to get at the icekin bolt thrower, and it was the only thing I had to take out the housecarls. So he was going to have to do a he was in charge of killing basically the whole flank by himself, and we'll have to see how that works out. But everything else moved up. The Nightmares were out of range to shoot early in the game. They're not that good shooting anyway. Matter of fact, that's a horrible unit. I just despise them. They're not good at all, and just tremendous waste of points. So anyway, and then Carl moved forward with everything. He got his Snow Foxes out front a little bit in more of a chaff mode. Everything else moved up online. The one of his heroes, I thought it may have been, I think maybe this is the Thane on this, that's down here on this end. The Lord is actually on the end up there next to the Icekin bolt thrower. So that was going to be, I'm really surprised his Lord wasn't flying around all over the place with his Wings of Honey Maze and going after my artillery, but my artillery wasn't that effective. Even that, I mean, I shot him all during the game. I just did minuscule damage. It was really pathetic. During this scenario, my hope was to get the 2 tokens off across the table on turn 5 or 6, and just hope I hold. And the Black Souls are pretty good at that because they're fairly tough unit. I'd stuck the Wretches in front of them to act as a screen, and they got shot a little bit by the Icekin bolt thrower, and that slowed them down. But they were going to be slowed down by protecting those dwarfs anyway, because dwarfs don't move very fast. So Carl had a great battle line of 4 hordes in a row, plus the chaff. I mean, that's very, very intimidating. I had basically 4 things to counter him, but my 4 things were pathetic compared to his. So very intimidating looking at his line coming at you. So here was my attempt to bust the end of his line and maybe get around and start changing the direction of those hordes and make them turn toward me. The unit of tunnel runners with the Brew of Sharpness, they rolled into those housecarls, and I'm pretty sure should have probably been able to one-shot them. But my dice just were garbage. I mean, it was pathetic. I mean, I had the Thunderous Charge coming down the hill, and I had Thunderous Charge. I had one of them at least because of being hindered. So I think that's right. And then, but I still just rolled, 24 shots for 4s and 3s. And I think I did 4 or 5 wounds. It was really bad. And then I was hoping that the Abyssal Half-Breed and Golik could kill that one Abyssal Champion that's there, or Abyssal Lord on, his Lord on the Frostfang. Thought he could kill him in one go, but then I realized Golik really is a bad fighter. He only gets 5 swings for a 200 and something point model. That's just horrible. I mean, he should have at least 7. So he is very understated. I know he's more of a support guy, but also didn't roll very well on that. And so his Lord on Frostfang survived, and now I was in deep trouble from that unit of trolls. So over here, I moved everything up. This time I got the Nightmares into the woods so they could start shooting, as pathetic as that's going to be. Everything else just kind of rolled up online to get into charge range. My Abyssal Half-Breed rounded the corner there, and now he was lined up on the bolt thrower. So he was in a good position there. The Wretches just moved forward as the meat screen. It was really important for me to move forward as fast as I could because those dwarfs are so slow, and I wasn't going to be able to. I mean, the terrain was just in a bad spot as far as being able to move forward. I was just catching the edge of that woods, and so couldn't even march. So it was really important for me to get up there as quick as I could, and just hopefully I could hold that position, and then, like I said, move the 2 tokens across at the very last moment to try and win the game. Over on the left here, you see my Abyssal Half-Breed with the Mournful Blade. He is going to line up on that bolt thrower that you can barely see there. Plus behind him, I think, is his general with the Wings of Honey Maze. So with the Mournful Blade, though, I was going to be a pretty good matchup for any lone heroes. And so really have to recommend that the Abyssal Half-Breed champion is a great hero. Yeah, they're kind of pricey, but they kick butt and really fast. They get a lot of advantages. That I mean, to me, the one shining thing in this army are those guys. Yep, Golik lasted 1 whole turn. The trolls charged him in the flank and destroyed him, but then the trolls had to turn around because the tunnel runners next to the tower over here could see their rear. So they had to be able to turn around. So that left the Abyssal Half-Breed fighting the Lord on Frostfang. The Royal Frostfang is very injured. I think he has 7 or 8 wounds, so he was in trouble. Housecarls charged back in and did a whopping 1 wound to me, so that was pretty pathetic, almost as much as the pathetic amount that I rolled on them. I think I did 6 before. I thought I said 4. But 6 was not going to be enough. I needed them, with half of those to hit, and, I needed 8 or 9, and I got 6. So anyway, I'm just whining now. But but over here, like I said, Golek lasted 1 turn in this game, and he was removed. So my turn, the unit with Strider rolled into the Trolls and did okay. I mean, a little less than I wanted, obviously, but they did okay, and did not break them, though, or waver them. But then the Abyssal Half-Breed did waver the Lord on the Frostfang this turn, so that was a really good thing. And the Tunnel Runners, since they finally are hitting on 3s, easily evaporated the Huskarls down here on this end. Though it really wasn't that much of a threat, the Abyssal Half-Breed went ahead and took out the Bolt Thrower. And so now he's in a position he can do stuff behind the army, attack the heroes back there. Carl had moved the Snow Foxes around to kind of deal with him, to kind of show, kind of shunt him off to one side. But with his speed and stuff and nimble, he was able to easily get past there. So in Carl's turn 3, he moves up everything again. The Huskarls decide it's time to move forward and to try to get over here and to do their scoring thing. So they start moving ahead away from my Abyssal Half-Breed back there. And then everything else just kind of moves up online here because, I have nothing that can confront those Klansmen. Those Klansmen are so good as far as against this army anyway. They're so good. So there was really nothing I was going to do to hurt those guys. The Snow Foxes did charge the Nightmares and did no wounds, so that was a good thing at least. I was chipping away at that unit of Klansmen between the 2 rocket launchers and the Nightmares, but the shooting was just, I'm not saying it was horrible. It was just subpar. It wasn't like I wasn't hitting. It was just like that, if I hit with a rocket, I would do 1 wound, and that's just not helping the cause very much. And so the Nightmares, they have a lot of shots on 4s, and that's a good thing. So, they were able to put some wounds on that Klansman unit during the game, and that was good. Yeah, the Tunnel Runners killed the Huskarls, and now they're going to roll basically into the Lord on Frostfang as quick as possible. My problem is that I got bogged down in this thing here. If I would have broke that unit of Huskarls on the first turn, like I thought I was going to, this maneuver would have happened on the second turn, and now see I'm delayed a whole turn and able to support my line. His Trolls with the Brew of Sharpness murderized my unit of Tunnel Runners, which they should. They're a very expensive unit on top of that. So the middle of the table is not looking good for me because I have pretty much lost my anything to confront the Trolls and those Ice Naiads. And I can guarantee you that those Nightmares aren't going to do anything about it. So not in really good position right here. So I figured with 24 shots into that Lord on the Frostfang, actually 48 shots into him, that the Tunnel Runners could probably handle him. The Abyssal Half-Breed went ahead and charged into the rear of the Trolls, and the Tunnel Runners charged him in the front, trying to break them and get them out of the way. Over here, I sent the Wretches into his Marauders, knowing full well that they weren't going to do anything. But really, as much as anything else, was to clear out so that my Black Souls could come up to the middle of the table in a future turn. So it was part of a delaying action and part of and kind of curious to see what the Last Breath was going to do to units with the units that charged them. And I knew full well that his Snow Foxes could charge me in the flank, but I was counting on that so that when they blew up, that it would maybe take some of the Snow Foxes with me. Back in the very back, the Abyssal Half-Breed went ahead and killed his Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze. I had the Mournful Blade, and so that's a lot of swings in a fight with that guy. So now he gets to try to figure out how to get back in the game and help out the cause. Yep, the Lord on the Frostfang finally met his end. I really wish he would have died like way sooner. So anyway, so he's So he gets slaughtered by the Tunnel Runner Regiment. And so now that I can finally move the Tunnel Runner Regiment down the line and start trying to do something about Carl's army. So in another horrible amount of bad dice rolling, the Abyssal Half-Breed did almost as much wounds as the 24 swings from the Tunnel Runners. Yes, that was how bad it was. Rolling for 4s just really sucks. It really does. I mean, it's so jumpy. You never know. I mean, if you could count on rolling for 4s that you hit half the time, that would be great. But you can't. And the thing is trolls are armor 5. That also helps them out. So, I was rolling for 4s and 3s. So, I don't know. I mean, but I was just, like I said, the Abyssal Half-Breed with his 6 swings did as much damage as the guys in the front, with 24 swings. So, but I think that's just the difference between hitting on 3s and hitting on 4s. And this turn, the Snow Foxes did do 1 wound to my Nightmare, so now I can't shoot, it's just bad. Because I failed to break the trolls, now the Ice Naiads get in with a flank charge into the flank of the Tunnel Runners. That is not going to be good. In the middle, his clansmen moved up right behind the Snow Foxes this turn. He was really kind of jammed up there because they were in between 2 big units, and they couldn't maneuver in for a double charge with the Snow Foxes. So he just had to move up and wait for the Snow Foxes to die, and then he could move in with his clansmen and kill the Nightmares. If you see now what I mean, that they couldn't get over far enough with the Wretch attack on there that they could double charge into the unit of Nightmares. So they were kind of stuck, but the ones on the end, of course, were fighting. Carl charged the Snow Foxes into the flank of the Wretches, and in a minute we get to see what a glorious boom is going to happen when that unit blows up. As you can see, those trolls were not in good shape. They had 11 wounds on them, and I think that was even after regeneration, but I'm not positive. The Abyssal Half-Breed had 4. I think he had taken from the Lord on the Frostfang. The Naiads and stuff, though, failed to kill the Tunnel Runners, and I think I was wavered this turn, but I mean, they were just going to get deluged under on the next turn. So because the Ice Naiads was hindered this turn, they were hitting on 5s and wounding on 4s. They did 10 wounds, but failed to kill. It was his turn to roll poorly on a break test, but I was still wavered with that. So again, they're in deep trouble this turn, and we'll have to see what happens next. So yeah, the Last Breath actually did some damage got his unit of clansmen up to at least having to have 2 dice worth of casualties, so that was good. The Housecarls are moved now across the middle of the table and are trying to get over here and score. But now, see, I've got the middle open the way I want it for the Black Souls to move forward and get into scoring position themselves. I just want to point out something that I see now that I didn't see last night, probably because of alcohol. But there was no reason in the world for me to fight those Snow Foxes and kill them so that unit could attack me. All I should have done was disengaged like a millimeter and made them charge into me again, hitting on 6s, because there was no way that unit of clansmen were going to get to me with the amount of turns I had left. So this is a critical mistake. I mean, I didn't see it last night. It looks so obvious now that I see it, which is I should have never attacked and killed that unit, because when I killed them, then they were able to attack me. And so that was my mistake. I should have just, like I said, backed up an inch, or not backed up an inch, backed up like a millimeter, and then the Snow Foxes would probably not do any damage to my Nightmares, and then I might even got to shoot again. So critical mistake right there. Like I said, I didn't see it last night. Today it looks plain as day of what I did wrong, because you'll see what happens in the next turn. And here it is. This is after my Nightmares killed the Snow Foxes. Now they're stuck right in front of that unit of clansmen. They have Potion of the Caterpillar, have a support by Thane, and it was not good. So over in the middle here, I guess my Tunnel Runners were, I don't know, maybe they were, I don't know if they were wavered or what. I think they were wavered. I just turned around so that his Ice Naiads couldn't go anywhere without going through them. The trolls did die, and now the abyssal half-breed and the very deadly tunnel runners with the brew of sharpness are going to come in and probably slaughter this unit of ice naiads. So I was trying to get Carl to turn the Huskarls around and fight because it was on the other side of the table and would have kept him from scoring. But he ignored me and just started marching off to across the table to score. But it's going to allow me in the future to charge the half-breed into that unit of Huskarls and maybe kill it. So I'm in pretty good shape there as far as I'd be able to negate this. This is turn 5, and it is getting tight over here on this flank. So, yeah, here you see the mistake where these guys went ahead and killed the Nightmares and then angled in on the Black Souls. I needed to get those 2 tokens across the table, and that mistake is what's going to cost me this game, because I could have taken that 1 unit of Clansmen without any problem at all, but I can't take 2, especially when one of them has the Potion of the Caterpillar and a very menacing-looking charge coming in on me. The over on the other side, it looks like the Ice Naiads had destroyed the unit of Tunnel Runners and now are turned toward the Tunnel Runners with the Brew of Sharpness and the Abyssal Half-Breed. Yeah, Carl had turned those Ice Naiads around to block me off, but then I see yet another mistake, because I could have nimble charged the Abyssal Half-Breed into the flank of that unit of Clansmen. And like I said, I see it plain as day now, but last night it just did not come to me, which is part of the reason why I do battle reports, is to look at things, see what mistakes I made, and hopefully learn from them and try not to do them again. And I'm hoping that this is the same thing that you're learning. I hope that you see exactly what I see, which is the Abyssal Half-Breed could have easily made a nimble charge into the flank of that unit of and you see they're on like 11 wounds, so he could have potentially destroyed them. I mean, they could happen. Not a high chance, but it could. You're going to see here what I would consider yet another mistake. One of the things that happened this turn was the Abyssal Half-Breed had destroyed the unit of Huskarls over here on the left, and I'll probably have a picture of that in a second. There was no reason in the world for me to charge across the table. I was already across the middle of the table. There was no reason to do that, to charge there. And I charged into this fight. I charged the half-breed and got lucky and did a wound to keep them from just charging through me. But, of course, they're easily going to slaughter him and then move into the flank of the Black Souls. And, like I said, total mistake. There's two things here. I could have had the Abyssal champion in there. I mean, the Abyssal half-breed champion could have been in there whacking on the side, that guy in the front. And there was really no reason to move the Black Souls, because if I would have stayed back, then all of his stuff except for the I probably could have taken both units in the front. I just don't think I could have taken I know I couldn't take what happens next, which is going to be they're going to kill the slave driver, and then they're going to go right into the flank and destroy the Black Souls to get the 2 chips. Yeah, the Black Souls died, which makes this even more stupid, because at this point on the left over here, there is the Abyssal half-breed ends up fighting and killing the Snow Fox unit, so there's nothing over there to pick up the other token. So it's just sitting there on the ground. So no points for that one. Over on this other side of the table, Carl has 1 chip there. All I had to do was hold both of my tokens, and instead that stupid charge allowed him to get me in the flank and win the game. And so I just look back at this game and I'm like, look at all the mistakes I made. And still a great game, but it could have been a much better game for me, I should say. I want to blame the Army, but now I look at this and I'm like, well, it wasn't this Army's fault. It was the General's fault in this case. And so very well-earned win for Carl. He exploited my mistakes and was able to take home the victory for the Northern Alliance. Congratulations on a well-deserved win for Carl and his Northern Alliance. They've actually won 2 weeks in a row now. They won today against my Ratkin Slaves, and last week they won against Kingdoms of Men. So they're turning out to be a pretty tough army. They're susceptible, though, to speed and to flyers, and so that's why we put the Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze to try to at least slow down one flyer that tries to get into the game, and so I think that's going to help it quite a bit. And but I mean, I really think that the units of Klansmen have done very, very well, because I mean they're just a big block of nerve, and Carl is running basically 4 hordes of nasty stuff, and that's a tough nut to crack. The only, like I said, the issue is speed, and being able, because it's pretty easy to get around it with some of the stuff going on there. So anyway, still I like the Army now. It's growing on me, and it is very, very tough to just go straight in and fight it, because it will tear you up if you do. As far as the Ratkin Slaves, again, this army, the army is a horrible army, but in this case, the general failed, not the army itself. As far as the list, the things is I know how everything's planned according to the article and everything. I like the article, and I just didn't get the statistical outcome that I thought was going to happen from the shooting, and maybe that was just my mistake. But the rocket launchers get 3 shots for 5s, and you would think you'd hit every once in a while, but I mean, like I said, it was doing like 1 or 2 wounds a turn, and I would really hoping for a little bit more output. And I think maybe I don't know what could go in their place. Decimator troops. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would fit in that spot. But I mean, I guess it would be nice if somebody was really holding back and you could have some turns of just shooting them up. The Black Souls did more damage, I think, with their Mastiff attack than anything else, which was funny. During the game, I think I actually broke one of the units of Klansmen from the Mastiffs or something, but the Talinar Standard helped that unit out, and were able to get the reroll, and were not wavered, and then were able to move forward. Over here on the right flank, I made a big mistake. I really, for some reason, thought that Golic was a more capable fighter. Than I just happened to look down at the sheet, and I'm like, oh wow, he's not that good, and he's very expensive. So he's really a support guy. And in retrospect, I should have put 2 units of tunnel runners over on that side of the tower to be able to get that job done, instead of splitting them up like I did. But I was trying to kind of have one unit to confront his one unit across the table, which was bad, because none of those tunnel runner units could bust any of his units there. So trying to get them over to and overwhelm that flank would have been a much better plan. The Nightmares, I don't really understand why people like them. I mean, it's nice to have that little shooting attack, but they're not that good. When they actually get into a fight, they're not good. I mean, they just, hitting on 4s is just garbage. I have to say it. But I mean, I think maybe blessing of the gods on them or something to help get rid of some of that dice fluctuation, as they say. They did do some damage to his Marauders that were low armor. The thing is that the Snow Foxes have stealth, and but the thing is they're so short I can shoot right over the top of them with the Nightmares and shoot the unit behind them. And so I was just ignoring the Snow Foxes and trying to pour all the shots into that unit of Klansmen. See, I got about 11 wounds. That wasn't horrible during the game, but they. I mean, the shooting was having an effect. It just wasn't having the effect, a rapid effect, I guess, is what I was really wanting to have happen. And now, say something about these Abyssal Half-Breeds. I don't know if you see this picture. I left it on here for a reason. Over on the left, that Abyssal Half-Breed, he killed everything on that side of the table during this game. He killed the Housecarls, he killed the Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze, and he killed the Icekin Bolt Thrower. He basically held the entire flank, and then kept that one token from being taken by the Northern Alliance forces. So that guy kicks ass. I mean, that is a winner model. And over on the other side, much the same thing. That guy, he finally helped finish off the trolls. He helped finish off the Lord on the Frostfang, and just did a marvelous job. And probably could have done more if I would have been thinking a little more clearly by this point on turn 6. So Abyssal Half-Breeds, champions, definitely our list. I don't know what to do about Golick. Golick, I guess you have to use him, but he ain't that good. And so I don't know what else to replace him with because, like I said, he's very costly. But you need that rally, too, on all those tunnel runners to keep them in the game because they just do not have a high nerve. I mean, they're just like any other cavalry in the game. And so that would be something there. And, I was thinking maybe that one of the units of tunnel runners could have had Blessing of the Gods. And, one unit probably needs it, either the Nightmares or one of those units of tunnel runners needs it to try to even out all that rolling for fours thing to try to get. I mean, I would just be content if they hit half the time like they're supposed to. And, but I mean, like I said, they just spike up and down so much. I mean, you don't know one turn you're going to roll, 18, 20 hits, and the next turn you roll 5 or 6. It's really bad rolling for fours to me. It's just too. You can't count on them for anything, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Ratkin Slaves. I apologize for all you Ratkin Slave players that I didn't win this game, and I could have easily won this game if I would have just been paying attention. So I'll give them a try again. I'll roll them out with all those tunnel runners and give it a try again. And hopefully next time I'll have them all. I'll have all the bases done because I just finished the abyssal dwarf parts of the army, and they just haven't had a chance to base the models yet. And all those I'm using regular dwarfs right now for Black Souls, but with some friends have helped me out, and I've got a whole bunch of dwarf miners that I'm going to turn into my Black Souls because I just think they have that grubby look, with all the picks and things like that. I'm gonna use them for that unit, and plus I could use them in my dwarf army too, so it makes a difference. Not really interested in buying a bunch of abyssal dwarfs. I mean, I like the army. It's just I just don't see investing in another army at this time. I mean, I've got plenty, so having an abyssal dwarf army doesn't really throw it out there. And I do have a dwarf army. And it's easy just to use the same models for the dwarves as the abyssal dwarves and go on from there. So hope you enjoyed the battle report. I hope you enjoyed my rollout of the Ratkin Slaves, and we'll see you next week.